No one jumped higher at X Games since Twitch. And I'm talking about DCTE, during Chip Tooth era. You know, like Twitch and Scummy hanging out with Cottonmouth Kings high.
Alright, let's wrap up this X Games mini-series for 2021. And the final event was, of course, the quarter pipe highest there. One of my favourite events, actually. And if you've only just tuned in now for the very first time and you don't know what we're doing here, this is the Riders Lounge podcast, a podcast all about freestyle motocross and anything that goes around it. And I'm your host on this adventure to nowhere, Steve Sommerfeld. And I'm actually stoked on this episode. Actually, I was pumped on all of the episodes, but there are even more legends of freestyle motocross and free riders to join us on this final episode. This is the last episode of the mini-series of 6 about X Games, so once you've listened to this one and you didn't know about the rest, just scroll back and give the others a listen. And as a matter of fact, a lot of the riders who joined me to give their opinions in this episode have had their own episode as well, and you can find links to everybody that's been involved in the show notes as well for this podcast. Now, I don't know about you guys, but Quarter Pipe is one of my favorite episodes, and just because there are no judges involved, you do get to see the riders just hitting a vertical piece of steel just to see how high they can go. There's not really too much to it, really. Who's willing to hit this thing the hardest, the fastest? Who's got the best suspension setup to handle the landing? Right, well, the results from X Games this year, you've probably seen it all before, but here we go. Corey Creed, well, he's got 0 feet, 0 inches next to his name because he wiped himself out the day before, and apparently it was a pretty nasty crash, so he wasn't able to make it. Tom Parsons, 28 feet, 1 inches. Jared McNeil, 28 feet and 5 inches. So Tom and Jared, who have won so many medals in best whip, and they spend most of their time on 2 wheels upside down, they're down in the 28s. Then it was Kohl Denney with 34.5 feet in 4th position, and Tyler Bereman with 37 feet. So they were really battling, and it only came down to Tyler Bereman's last jump where he really, gave it the berries and got past Kohl. Otherwise, Kohl was looking at a pretty much guaranteed 3rd position. And then in the top 2 spots, on his home turf, Axell Hodges, 39 feet, 2 inches, and Colby Raha, who sent it from the very first jump. He just kept getting bigger, 40 feet, 9 inches to set a new record, which was set by Corey Creed at 40 feet, 8 inches. So yeah, Colby Raha, 1 inch higher than Corey Creed to set a record and to take the gold medal. Now, there were plenty of dramas leading up to this event, especially when the invite list came out. And a whole bunch of you guys listening here actually couldn't believe that both Kohl Denney and Guillem Navas were snubbed. And right at the last minute, almost literally the last minute, Kohl Denney was given his ticket to ride. I think he had 2 days up his sleeve, maybe a fraction less than 2 days. So luckily he's based in the States and he could make it there. But even if Navas had the chance, there's no way he would have got there from Spain to America to get ready for that event if he had the last minute invite. And if you don't know who Kohl Denney is, you've got to go searching for him on Instagram and YouTube. He is a one-man Krusty Demons movie. This guy jumps anything and everything, and he's doing plenty of dumb stuff in the middle. But Kohl is one of those guys that I think the sport really needs. No bullshit. He just does whatever he wants, and he just sends it. And he also rode the Nitro World Games quarter pipe, which is the biggest quarter pipe ever built, and he went so big on that. So I'm kind of not sure why he pretty much didn't have an automatic invite for X. Anyway. And if you don't know who Guillem Navas is, he's the younger brother to Antonio Navas over there in Spain. and he rides as part of the Lidus FMX team. But actually, he was a full-on racer, and until recently, when he realized that it was just way more fun to ride freeride, he's now been launching his gas out in the hills, jumping road overpasses, and sending it to the moon on quarter pipe. And he'll actually join us today to talk about the different techniques of the riders in that competition at X Games. So that's awesome to have him on. And hopefully, I mean, come on, guys. I know people from X Games are listening to this. So I would be getting that invite ready for Guillem Navas to ride the competition next year. It will be like, I guess, when Denney got his invite and everybody was just so pumped to see Kohl got in there and he showed what he could do. All right, there's a lot to talk about here. And as we've done in each mini episode, I'll let my guests for today carry this monumental responsibility of breaking down the quarter pipe highest air event this year. Speaking of monumental responsibilities, becoming a podcast ambassador for an alcohol-free line of beers with the Tannen Zepfler range has been huge. The workload, incredible. Making sure to have a Rothaus beer cold by my side at all times. It's been a tough gig, but it's one that I've prepared to take on. Right, first up, the first guest, the man who invented the first ever FMX peg grind and filmed it all for the old M80 TV show, which was like 20 years ago. The real moto comedian himself, Clint Esposito.
Finally, one of my favorite events, quarter pipe high air. Just simply who can jump the highest. It was really nice having the setup where people had the option to pass the Dutchie upon the right-hand side if they wanted to. It was nice to see newcomer Kohl Denney prove he isn't afraid to jump really, really high. But in the end, Tyler Bereman proved he wasn't scared of big hits either. It came down to Axell in his own backyard versus Colby Raha. Colby came out blazing right from the start. Axell may have done his best run, but got skipped in the rotation and had to make a redo. In the end, everybody was amazed at how high Colby jumped. No one jumped higher at X Games since Twitch. And I'm talking about DCTE, during chip tooth era. You know, like Twitch and Scummy hanging out with Cottonmouth Kings high.
I actually don't know if I should bother to continue with this. I think Clint, he pretty much just covered everything in this review. And I'd say it's going to be tough for the next guy to back this one up. Don't you hate it, like when you see the guy go out in front of you and he's just thrown down the biggest run and then you've got to go do yours. So this is going to be a tough one, but I'm going to bring in the big guns. And it's somebody who should have ridden this competition. I've already spoken about it. Guillem Navas, he should have already been there, but he's going to break down exactly what he saw from the riders and how they approached the ramp, what they were doing on the ramp and in the air to see who won. So this is awesome to have him. Guillem Navas, or Navas Petite, if you've seen him on Instagram.
In my opinion, I think Kohl, Denney, and Tyler Bereman were like pretty much the same. The last jump, Tyler went a bit more fast before the ramp, and those two guys have like a pretty similar style. They are just jumping straight on the ramp, turning the bike 180 degrees on the air, and then they land pretty close to the ramp. You know, they don't use much landing. They use more like a whip style, I would say. They go straight, whip the bike, and then land. That's, in my opinion, the both silver medal contenders. They were like pretty much that style. And then it goes Axell, in my opinion, is like in between those two guys. I mean, Tyler and Kohl and Colby. Axell is in between because he's like going faster to the ramp than Tyler and Kohl, and he's like straightening it up. Also, like he's like pretty straight on the ramp, but he's not super aggressive on the ramp. I mean, he leaves the bike, like he lets the bike go up, and then he relaxes on the air, and then he just makes sure the landing is okay. You know, you don't see him doing much rear brake touches in the air or moving the bike so much. He's just like using simple flow, I would say, but high. Like he's fast on the ramp, but like chill in the air. Looks really good, but looks like it's not enough for getting the gold medal. And then we have the winner, Colby. I mean, he's in another level. Like, definitely, you can see, like, he's acting like this ramp. I mean, this jump itself was a normal jump, You see he's braking, using the rear brake, like, a couple times in the air. Like, if it was a 40-meter straight jump, he's acting like, is everything fine and doing some tricks. What he does different, I mean, everything. Like he's way more aggressive in the ramp. He has a lot of control in the with the bike in the air, and you can see him doing some tricks. So, I mean, Kobe definitely was stepping up the game this year, and yeah, it was so fun to watch. And hopefully next year I can have my spot there, see if we can do something great. But for sure, I've been learning a lot watching these guys rip.
It's actually really cool to hear that breakdown from Guillem. All these little things that he was observing that probably most of us have no idea what's even going on in those few seconds leading into the ramp and in the air. So it's cool he also is learning from these guys. And I'm sure with one more year now at home in Spain, working on his bike setup and his ramp, he'll be ready to just send it in quarter pipe next year. I don't know if he's going to be ready to go winning it, but I'm sure he'll be looking at that 40-foot record and probably trying to chase that one down. All right, next up, and you guys probably know I've been living away from Australia for a very long time now, so it's just cool for me to hear Andy Christie's Aussie accent again. Just feels like I'm at home,
Quarter pipe big air was probably my favourite event out of X Games this year. Being a big Colby Raha fan, it was great to see him take the gold medal on Axell Hodges' home turf. Everyone rode great. It was awesome to see Kohl Denney get in there. I think they should have had his invite to him a lot earlier. He would have had a lot more time to prepare, and I think he could easily have medalled. Again, big shock not to see McNeil score a medal in that, being a previous gold medalist. And overall, the event was awesome. It's just incredible to see how high these guys are pushing it, and awesome to see Colby set a new record for the event.
Now it's time for the Mayor of the Action Village to speak, the Right Honourable Javier Villegas.
Quarter pipe, for some reason, is not my jam. It's impressive and everything, but it doesn't really get my gears going. I thought it was a little bit unfair that it was on Axell's quarter pipe and everything, but still, like, Colby shredded it. But I don't know. It's not an event that it really attracts me that much. I don't know. I don't know what is it. Maybe I don't like quarter pipes. It's something personal. Still gnarly how high those guys are going. Pretty pumped that they invited Kohl. I admire that guy a lot. I met him a few times, and I like he's still bringing the 90s on his style.
Actually, it's funny to hear Javier say he's not a fan of quarter pipe. I've seen him land all kinds of egg roll combos on the quarter pipe. I've actually also seen him crash a lot of egg roll combos on the quarter pipe. Maybe that's the reason. Anyway, next up, it's Kevin Peterson, all the way from Denmark, representing the Weekend Warriors, as he puts it.
So as we know, the event was at Axell Hodges' track. It was his own home track, and I don't know if it was because of not being able to fill a venue, and that would be too expensive with the whole event. But everything was at Hodges' track, and you could clearly see that he was comfortable with everything at the place. However, I don't know if Axell Hodges not winning the quarter pipe was a kind of statement to show that we don't favoritize him at his own track. I think at the quarter pipe I think it looked more smooth when he jumped than Colby Raha, where you could see Colby was just sending it. It's just hucking it to go higher. But I actually never jumped a quarter pipe myself, so I can't difficulty that's in this, but it just looks so sick. They all busted out, and I think the fact that Axell didn't win was just a way to try and say, okay, so we know this is at his place, but we will not let that affect our. I don't really have nothing else to say than massive respect to all the riders doing it. It's super sick, and I know if they crash on that thing, that's going to leave a huge mark.
Moving from mainland Europe to the British Isles, FMX Grizz, who has been giving his 2 pence worth in each episode, joins us for this last episode. Thank you so much, mate. I'm stoked you wanted to jump on board from the start. So this is what FMX Grizz had to say.
Quarter pipe high, yeah. Cool, I think there's only one champ there. Old Kobe. He absolutely smashed it as always. This boy is just, the talent for him is just so next level, and I think all of his BMX skills, everything just is hand in hand for this boy. He just steps it up each X Games. I can't wait to see him come back and smash his own record. But Axell, everyone there, they done so well on that quarter pipe. Can't wait to see that next year as well.
Now, although there weren't any judges needed for quarter pipe, Jose Gaspar, a former X Games and Red Bull X Fighters judge from Brazil, also joined in on the fun.
I enjoy quarter pipe. In fact, I enjoyed that sort of riding since Doug Parsons was exploring that in the very beginning. What I like is that blends riding skills with that old free ride spirit that opened a door for a new generation of riders that kinda renewed the sport. But probably there was no room for step up in quarter pipe at the event. So they choose quarter pipe to refresh Moto X, I suppose. About little Navas, would be nice to see him riding there. But I'm just guessing, and I truly believe that we'll see him at X Games soon.
Antonio Navas has joined for all of the episodes as well, I think, but for quarter pipe, he was working to help get his brother into the event this year and last year. So let's see what Antonio had to say.
Quarter pipe. Yeah, where the hell was my brother? Yes. We were expecting, to go there this year because I really think my brother has the level to go there. But yeah, things are how it is. So yeah, we all can only think about going next year. So and keep working hard as he's doing. So yeah. But for the rest of the guys, yeah, very impressive. With the Raha, Axell, Tyler. So yeah, I mean, I think Corey Creed he could do very, very well as well, but after he's crashed, a bit disappointed to not seeing here also. But yeah, I mean, quarter pipe is one of my favorite competitions on X Games right now, so I really liked it.
Now, last and certainly not least, just a small snippet of his full interview, which I will upload in the next week or so with Edgar Torrentares. And he's got a bit to say about the guys not getting their invites early as well.
It's like the leader Navas. He comes to do the quarter pipe, and he jumps more than McNeil on the quarter pipe.
Yeah.
I think like Parsons.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, because he's crazy. Maybe when he starts to, and he feels good there, he gonna kill it. You know what I mean? I don't want to say like win or something like that, but like that new rider, I don't know the name.
Kohl Denney.
That one with Kohl Denney.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
And he got fourth.
High, but
almost got a bronze.
Almost third. Yeah. Almost. But that quarter pipe is a good cheat. Is legal. We got because they know which high
which rider goes the highest.
Yeah, and then they don't need one man judging there. And then it's like a race.
Yeah.
If you started first and you finish first, nobody can say, oh, why you first? No, because I win.
Well, there you go. I think everyone had so many good points there. I really didn't even need to be here. I can just put everybody's messages together and just throw it out into the ether, and you can listen to it as you will. It is so good to hear everybody backing up these guys like Cole Denney, who was lucky enough to get his last-minute invite. And he proved to everyone right there with his respectable fourth place that he deserved his spot. He was sitting in that third position right up until Tyler Bereman's last jump. I mean, if Tyler hit a banana peel on that last attempt, Cole Denney would have been walking home with a bronze medal. And there's also plenty of love for Guillem Navas. I'm stoked to hear that. Again, probably a name most of you who aren't based in Europe would actually know, but definitely someone you should be keeping an eye on. He's always out with a shovel, making awesome videos and jumping all sorts of dumb things he probably shouldn't be. But this guy has got some talent. So hopefully next year we'll see him over there in the States and sending it on the quarter pipe. And the fact that we didn't have Step Up this year, that sucked a little bit. I really wanted to see Jared McNeil jumping in an excavator and carving out the tallest Step Up at the sleigh ground that he could find. He's spoken about it before that X Games needs another 2 foot of lip and they'd be going even higher. But I guess with the new 110s event, they dropped Step Up, or maybe they thought the quarter pipe competition was enough. It's never enough. Come on, give us more. I just want to see Step Up as well. And the record set by Colby Raha. Well, that was just cool to see. Only 1 inch more than Corey Creed, who smashed himself the day before. And actually, Corey was supposed to join us on this chat, but unfortunately he was so concussed, he actually doesn't remember anything. And then he had the drama with having to get his hand operated on, and I'm just so bummed that he wasn't able to send it this year. But that would have been awesome to see Colby and Corey going jump for jump this year. Speaking of Colby again, I know a couple of guys mentioned it before, but it was funny knowing the beef that Colby and Axell had over the years leading up to this event. And while everyone was talking about Axell having the home ground advantage on the sleigh ground course, but Colby Raha was simply not having it. And he just came out and just twisted that throttle harder than anyone else to win that thing. And what's crazy, his final jump with the knack-knack was still high enough that he would have won a medal with that jump. And that was his celebration round. That was just the one going out there. I don't even care what happens. And that knack-knack on the last jump probably would have got him a silver or bronze medal. So that's just how hard Colby Raha was sending it. Now, I have seen a lot of new listeners actually join in the last month with this X Games mini-series, and that's awesome. I'm actually really pumped to see that, and I've had quite a few messages of people that didn't even know there was an FMX podcast out there. And I guess it's not exactly something that's easy to find because you're probably not looking for it. So if you are new to the Riders Lounge podcast, I figure now is the best time to say almost every episode up until this point was actually designed to kind of be an evergreen interview. So they're not usually time sensitive. And if you didn't listen to it at the time of recording, they're not obsolete. More often than not, pretty much every podcast interview is still very relevant. So head back through the catalog and hopefully you'll find some of your favorite riders in the mix. But also check out some of the names of riders you may not know, because everyone on here so far has had, I feel, a freaking awesome story. And I'm just pumped to have the time, or have everybody take the time to jump on. And I want to thank all of those guys so far. I also want to thank the team there at Rothaus, because I'm just so stoked to make it all the way through this X Games mini-series with a Tannen Zäpfler alcohol-free beer in my bar fridge downstairs here. Now the places are actually starting to open up a little bit more, and it is summer over here in Germany, I'm finally going to have to make some plans to head to the brewery and go on the beer tour, because I'm actually over 1 year overdue for that one, and I get to replenish my stocks directly from the source of pure awesomeness. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to have your say on anything in FMX, motocross, or action sports, remember, you can send through voice messages as well, just like we've had on these last 6 episodes. You can send them through on Instagram or Facebook, or if you've got my WhatsApp, send it through on there. It can go longer than 1 minute, and I'll be more than happy to put them into upcoming episodes as well. And it's awesome to hear from you all. And it's your messages plus the beer, I think, which actually keeps my motivation levels quite high on this podcast. Oh, and actually don't forget to keep your eyes peeled for the new Edgar Torrenteras episode, which will be coming out in the next week or so. We thought it would be easier to do a small chat about X Games for this series rather than him doing little WhatsApp messages, but it got heavy real fast, and Edgar was not scared to call bullshit on a few things around X Games invites, sponsors, FMX in general. Man, Edgar really didn't hold back, and that's me putting it mildly. All right, until that episode, have fun, stay safe, and keep sending it.